All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
Yep. It was quite challenging, to say the least. And, I did fail in a sense, or I learned, I should say, in a sense, because I assumed that once that all happened, my mom did everything she needed to do to put everything in her name.
Yeah.
She did. The house is still in my dad's name. She just kept paying the mortgage payment on it. So when she passed away, it did go to probate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It did go to probate. And that was right in the realm of COVID. So they weren't meeting in person, and it took the courts time to figure out how they were going to manage those cases. So the delay was even longer. And in the meantime, the house that they had, I couldn't afford to do anything with that house. It just had to sit while I figured this all out. And, here I am now. My job is closing down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything was just completely overwhelming. And we got it all done. Don't get me wrong, but it cost me a ton of money to get it to happen, to get the attorney in place, to manage the probate case, and to sell the property and all that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to sell a property in Illinois, right? Yeah. Here I am in Colorado. And so, blah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have a mutual
people.
Exactly. I was going to say, like, you touched on something when you said that you paid the attorney a lot, because we have a mutual friend that's an attorney, and she said something a few weeks ago in an event that you held, and it has continued to play over and over. It lives rent free in my head. So if she hears this, so she knows. She said, you can either pay me a lot now, or you can pay me significantly more after you're gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, that drives home the point. It's an investment to make sure that everything is prepared for that season of life, or you can leave that burden. That's the way I interpreted that.
Burden on your
that
kids.
Burden that's exponentially more expensive on the people that you love.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Like, I don't know what would have cost to do my parents' end of life documents and work with the state attorney, but I can tell you that what I paid for mine versus what I paid to do that whole probate thing, 1/10 of what that probate case was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yes, you should absolutely do it. If you want to talk about leveling up your life and saving money, protecting your future, that's the way to start.
And I will say, I remember when I did it and it was done and I brought it home, and it just felt so calm. I was like, it was almost like I had this weight lifted off of me. Like, okay, now I can breathe. Like everybody knows what's going to happen now, and I don't have to worry about it. So
that's right. Yeah, it really does. It brings you peace, because you don't have to worry about what's going to happen to your children or to your assets or to any of that stuff. You know exactly. You made the decisions yourself. You know that exactly your wishes, right? Instead of, like I said, the scenario that plays out when siblings or whomever, they're all fighting over it because there were no decisions made. Nobody knows what it is that you want.
Yeah. No, they'll find out who the favorite was once I'm dead.
Awesome.
Just kidding. Not really.
Here's the deal. Like, if you have a bunch of investments and, you designate your beneficiaries, those advisors, when they talk to the beneficiaries, they're only allowed to talk about the accounts that they're on. So if you have several accounts and you give portions to some of the kids or whomever, and then one person gets another, they can't talk to the siblings about the accounts that they're not on. So yeah, you can absolutely, they'll know amongst themselves if they talk.
Exactly. Yeah, there will be signs. Exactly. Like, someone's going to walk out and buy a new house, and the other one's going to be able to, like, I don't know, pay for the services. And then that's it.
Well, and it can be changed
Rachel,
at any time.
Exactly. They'll know. They'll know. I think I'm just gonna bring the elephant right smack dab into the middle of the room, because when we're talking about like the hard conversation, when we're talking about end of life planning, that in itself is hard. But what you do as well is also guide people to prepare for Q4 of life, like making sure that when you are retired, that you are comfortable, that you can support and maintain the lifestyle that you want to establish. And quite honestly, the elephant here being, people have a hard time opening up about their finances, like what they have done or what they have not done, because we don't have a lot of grace with ourselves, right? Like it's, I probably should have invested in the 401k when I was in my 20s and I didn't. And so here I am at 45. What would you tell me what to do? Right. And so talk to us a little bit about your services and how you work with people to help them prepare for Q4 of life, because that's different than end of life, like directive and will and all of that.
So, I'll give you a couple of different scenarios. When people are preparing, like one of the scenarios I'm going to give you is a couple that got married and they were college sweethearts. And at 40 years old, the husband passes away unexpectedly. He did have a life insurance policy. So now the living spouse has that policy. She comes and she meets with me and she says, I know I have to figure out something because one, I'm the only mama. I'm the only one that's left. And I've got 2 kids that I need to make sure are taken care of. It was a perfect opportunity to have the conversation, not just for her, but also for the 2 kids, because they're young. They have that long runway. We did some life insurance policies that are going to follow them as long as they're funded correctly, which they are. It's going to follow them to the age of 121. Those policies are there. So it doesn't matter, Mama Bear, you now have a second level of peace of mind, because what we have put in place for you that we've paid for with your father that passed away with his insurance policy is we have put these policies, they're good. You're good. Both kids are covered. And then for Mama Bear, she's 40, so she has, a little bit of time left, but she is overwhelmed. She is feeling like she can't handle this. It took her a good, few years to actually get to a point where she was like, I really have to talk to somebody about this because I don't know what I'm doing. He took care of all of that. Right. So I will tell you that the first conversation we had, and she was telling me everything, I just gave her the floor because I lead with empathy. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most. And what she needed was a friend. Right. So I heard her story and we cried together. I hugged her and I said, I've got you. I've got you. I don't care what it is you need. I've got you. She had trouble even getting a cell phone. And she was like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I live a few miles away from you. Just call me. I'll go to the AT&T store with you. I'll help you with that. She's like, what? Yeah, I will, but let's get you prepared for this Q4. So there are things that you can put in place. It's called a life insurance retirement plan, a LERP. It's a newer term that's in the market, but it's where you can utilize your life insurance to also help fund your retirement. And because it is life insurance, it is something that you can access before the age of 59 and a half, which is what most retirement funds you cannot do. You have to hold, otherwise you're taxed, right? These are things that I teach people about. So for her, I said, okay, let's teach you about this because that's something you can absolutely put in place. The other thing that we did is she's somebody that doesn't like risk. She doesn't want to expose everything that she has saved in this 401k to risk. And it was a 401k that she got from her spouse that passed away. So I said, well, you're still currently working. Let's do something with that. Well, would it be of interest if we could come up with a plan where you have a zero floor? So 0 is your hero. There's no risk in the marketplace, but you can still earn interest that compounds while you're working. Is that something that, and at the end of the day, when you're ready to retire, it can produce lifetime income as though it's serving like a pension plan or a supplemental social security plan. Those are the conversations I have with people is really what are your goals? What sounds like it would lead to a more stable future for you, something that was going to protect and just, create something where you're still at peace in that fourth quarter of life. So that's one side of it. And that's more of the, believe it or not, life insurance side of it. There's also the aspect of Medicare, because that environment is super duper confusing. And I am one of these people that my partner, Nathan, he's a wonderful man, and his father has dementia. And I will tell you that, his dad was definitely bamboozled by somebody that just wanted to make commission off of his Medicare. They kept changing his policy, and it was an utter nightmare because he couldn't remember what was up or down. And I thought, is this what like fourth quarter of life is? I mean, are these people, they're already, in my mind, they're very vulnerable in so many ways, right? Yeah. And this is the way we're going to greet them? No, that's not cool by me. I had the licensing to do it. And so I decided I'm going to add that Medicare piece to it as well, because everybody needs it. That is your health insurance when you're getting ready to retire or you have a disability, depending on what your case is. But I can help you navigate that. I'm a broker for that as well. I represent a bunch of different carriers, and I, again, just meet where you're at. Do you have special conditions? Are you on certain medications? Are there different areas that you live in Colorado, so these plans are accessible to you? And we just talk about what sounds right for you. How can we save you money? Because you just don't know. I actually have a client. This is kind of a funny story. It's a guy that was always on a Kaiser Permanente plan, and he knew he was going to be moving. And when he moved, that plan was the closest Kaiser facility was 2 hours away from where his new place was going to be. And he's 80 years old. Oh. And so I said, I know, a power to you, but are you sure that's the right kind of plan for you? You're going to be able to drive to see your primary doctor every time you need him, 2 hours in one direction. And, after talking it through things, we knew it wasn't the right plan. So we found the right plan for him. But what was funny is the current plan that he had, when we looked it up, he had a benefit where he could take $75 and apply it to over-the-counter stuff. Oh. So like aspirin, Band-Aids, like your just everyday things. And I said, do you know you have $75 just sitting here that you haven't used? He's like, I didn't know. I'm like, well, let's use it, because you use it or you lose it. It doesn't roll over. And we went through his whole list of medications and whatever, canes and compression socks or whatever it was he needed. And he said he had everything. And I was like, okay, well, we're down to toilet paper. Do you need toilet paper? Yeah. He's like, I guess. We bought him $75 worth of toilet paper. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Which the reality is it's only 24 rolls, so don't get too excited.
Yeah. The thing is, he had a plan. He didn't even know what he had. Yeah. Nobody ever talked to him. He'd been on this plan for years and years. Yes. Yeah. And so, just having a conversation with him, and everything that I do, I don't charge anybody for what I do. The carriers, they're the people that actually pay me, because that's the way it should be, truly, if you ask me. Yeah. We just need to give you the education so you can make good choices for yourself. That's my role. Think of me as like a CFO, giving you different options. You're the CEO of your life, and you ultimately make all decisions. I have no say-so in any of that.
Love that. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. I think that's an important piece, because there's a lot of fear or just maybe intrepidation or whatever it is, like whatever, there's reservation in terms of, well, I don't want to talk to anyone about this, or I don't want to talk about that yet. I'll wait until, later. Like that's something that I'll get to eventually. And some of the things that we've talked about is like, you don't know what's going to happen. So we don't know where you'll be eventually. Yeah. And the other piece is like, just having someone that is an expert in that space. And I think now is probably a good time for us to do the asterisk that we're not giving any type of financial advice on this podcast.
Not yet. Yeah.
Yes. You reach out to Rachel if you want to connect with her. Yeah. But this, Rachel, you know the story because you were able to help me through this. I had a very similar instance where I thought, oh, I'm set. I'm fine. I had, a broker that issued a policy for me. And I thought, okay, wonderful. I'm all set. My children are set. I took out $1 million life insurance policy and I said, okay, my children are going to be fine. And then you and I sat down and we had a conversation. You said, bring everything that you have. And I did. And we sat down and we actually looked at it. And I am not an expert in this field. I have not been in the financial space. And I trusted the individuals that gave me advice and guidance. And so what we discovered in this quote unquote $1 million policy, that it was actually a burial policy. I think it was like $11,000 or something at the end of the day. If I happened to live to 77. If I was 77 years older, if I died at any of those ages, or beyond that, the policy itself was worth like $10,000, $11,000, like nothing. It was basically a burial policy. And I had the policy for years, and I'd paid.
You had paid into it for years.
For years.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
And
Wait,
so
Rachel,
it's a matter of making that call. It's like, okay, well, I have all intentions of living past 77 years old, but do I keep just pumping money into this, or do I sit down with someone and have a conversation to truly look at what does Q4 of life look like for you, or what do you want it to look like? And let's build that out. Yeah. And I'm grateful that I did. It still sucked.
I mean,
it hurt.
It was very painful for your bank. I thought, all right. And I'm not a very pushy person. That's the funny thing.
No.
Natalie and I had sat on that conversation for a year. I'm like, she's just going to figure it out. She's going to figure it out. I taught her everything that she needed to know, and she'll come to me when she's ready.
I had to get the ego out of the way, because that part of me is like, you do feel like you're bamboozled, right? Like for me, I was like, I cannot believe that I'm bamboozled. And here's the reality: like whatever you think that you're going to do on your own in your savings account, it's not going to happen, right? Like you have to have something that's actually positioning you for growth. And I too am risk averse, so we talked about that. Like I don't want to have the risk in my investment. So I thought, until I realized, well, shoot, if I had done this 10 years ago, it'd be significantly cheaper, and I could have been open to a little bit more risk in that season of life. But here I am. And it was coming to terms with where I am today and what do I want in the next 30, 40 years? What's that going to look like? And the best time to take action is now. And so I want to thank you for just being that person to give me advice and guidance, because it was helpful. Yeah.
It is absolutely my pleasure, because like I said, that kind of stuff makes me feel good. Makes me feel so good. And I'm like, yes, that's one more family protected. That's one more friend that I know is going to be just fine, you know?
Yeah.
And even if you have policies, to Natalie's point, if you've never looked at it, or if it's 10 years old, it really would, just like a car insurance or homeowner's insurance, it really would be a good idea to just do a review. I mean, what's the harm? It might take an hour of your time, and yes, you're going to have to pull up your policy or whatnot. But if there is something better out there in the market, or we can re-educate you so you know exactly where you're at, because you might have done it like 10 years ago, right? 15 years ago. You have no idea. And you're like, oh, that's the deal. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Like I said, P&C agents, I'm sure that they recommend to do it. And people do that with their cars, with their homes, and all that stuff. So you should absolutely do it with your life insurance, folks.
All right. Well, I'll be reaching out to you as soon as we're done, because.
Exactly. As everyone should. Everyone should.
To your point, Natalie, it's like, I'm not an expert in that, and I don't want to be an expert in that.
No. Not at all.
I don't want to be an expert. There's a lot of things I don't want to be an expert at. I would rather somebody else be the expert, and then, and
trust that they have your best intention at heart, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying anything about the prior broker, if they had malicious intent. But Rachel, you started to allude to it. There are people that are taking advantage of the silver society, unfortunately. Like they are seeing it as an opportunity, and they're inundated with information.
That's overwhelming.
Until they either shut down or they process the wrong thing, right? And
And you know what I will tell you, since we were talking about people being sensitive to their finances, just like people are sensitive to their health issues, at the end of the day, the information that we collect, it's important, because if we don't, then we can't make good suggestions, right? So if we're talking about Medicare, if you don't tell me the medications that you're on, how do I present to you different carriers and what the costs of those medications are if you're not willing to disclose that information? I'm trying to save money, but if you can't give me all of that information, I can't help you. And it's the same thing when it comes to financial stuff. We really need to know where you're at, because we're not here to leave you in a position where you have nothing to lean on, where you're using your last $20 to just pay for it. No. Right? We want to leave you in a place where you realize you have the power to make good choices and make changes, even if they're small, little tiny daily habits. We talk about maybe it's Starbucks coffee. For me, it would be boba. I love boba. But, I'm not going to go and do it every day because that's $8 every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's just those tiny little daily habits that can make a big change. Because even if you just said, okay, I'm going to not do boba once a week and it's $8, and so that's $32, is that something that can make a change in your life? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with people that are on Medicare currently, do you recommend them doing kind of reviewing? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to get you
Yeah.
connected with my parents as well. So
Yes.
there's that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons we want to do that is because sometimes there is also disruption in Medicare and things
Yeah.
change. And you want to make sure that the plan that they're on, because maybe they've been on Medicare for the last 15, 20 years. Maybe there are other, carriers that have more things to offer them. And they don't know it because they've just held tight with the one that they have,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And it's, again, it also is a good thing because as they age, it's a good thing for other people to even know, like their kids, if they're going to start to manage their care as their parents are getting into, nursing homes and whatnot, just to know what they've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
To know the different coverages that they have. It's everything from hospitalization to can they leave their network and so forth and so on.
Yeah. So much good information. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think Natalie's kind of grainy. Did we get her back? Oh, yeah. Good.
I am back. You know what? It's apparently my internet says that we're done for
Oh, now you're gone.
I'm back. I'm in black screen. Oh my goodness.
Well, then she'll be back. That's okay. She'll be back. Oh my gosh. So what has been the biggest reward of doing what you're doing now? Maybe you didn't expect?
I think that having the ability to help people reshape and empower themselves, because I can talk till I'm blue in the face. I am very passionate about everything from ending financial illiteracy to helping people build very stable futures.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what really, really makes me tickle me pink inside is the fact that they realize for themselves that they've got it.
Yeah.
They've got it.
Yeah. So that realization that they're like, oh my gosh, I've got this.
It's not just a pipe dream. They can make a change. It doesn't take a whole lot. And that they understand that there are resources. You can call me at any time. Like I had a client call me to say, oh my gosh, my insurance has gone up so much for my home. I'm so upset with this whole agent, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I've got somebody. I'll send you their information. And then she called me back and said, the person you referred me to, number one, was super thorough. And I was like, yes, she's very detailed about everything that she presents. And then they said, and she saved me thousands of dollars. And I'm like, hurrah.
Coach.
Love that for you.
Making that
Love
difference. That's awesome.
It's that smiling on the inside and it shows on the outside. I think that I lead with my heart and then just back it up with what I know. And what I don't know, I'm going to give to the resources that do know.
Yeah. And I think, finances and money and retirement and all that stuff has been such a taboo thing. Like people just don't want to talk about it. And they think, well, if I don't talk about it, it just will go away. I won't have to worry about it. It'll just, whatever.
It'll be the rug. Yeah, don't be the rug.
So, but when you actually step into it and do it, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the fear because people just don't know what they don't know. And then it does feel super overwhelming. I know that when I got my divorce and I had to get my own insurance for the first time, I was like, it was terrifying. It was absolutely overwhelming and terrifying. And now, well, it's taken me like 10 years, but it's still scary. But so I love that we're doing this episode because I think it just normalizes it. Like we're all in the same boat.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, yeah, don't be afraid or ashamed to reach out and get somebody that's like an expert at it to help you. So this is amazing.
Yes, it would be my pleasure and my honor because, like I said, our days are numbered. Who knows? But what I do know is with my time here, I will make a change. I will do it one family at a time, just like I'm going to do one less boba a week at a time.
Love that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, the Money Maven, how can people get a hold of you? How can they find you? Where are you?
Well, I'm on Facebook as the Money Maven. I also have the site, themoneymaven.net. You can schedule a free consultation. You can do it in person. You can do it via Zoom. There's multiple places on that website that you can get a hold of it. It's pretty simple to do. Or if you're going to like show my information here, that's cool too.
That's perfect.
I'm not somebody that I don't consider myself traditional by any stretch of the imagination, but I do consider myself to be somebody that leads with their heart and that really tries to be empathetic and, just give you the best that I can give you every time. And my only ask is that if I do that you do the same for me.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think that's fair enough. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your personal story. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and resources in terms of planning in life and making sure that we're prepared. I mean, just to be comfortable. We're not even talking about we're not talking about creating additional wealth. We're just talking about sustaining and making sure that we're comfortable and have what we need to live the lives that we want to have. But before we go, I want to ask, do you have any last words or a piece of advice for our listeners? Anything that you wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on yet today?
My hope is that in listening to the podcast, that they are like, wow, I feel ignited to make a change, and that in that they do take some action, whatever that action might be. Maybe you go onto my website and you're like, all right, I'm going to have a conversation with this girl because she's peppy and optimistic, and heck, if she can just lay it all on the line in 55 minutes, I can absolutely talk to her for like 20, right?
Yes.
And that's it, is to really just take action, do something, do anything, and even if it's just the tiniest thing, it will change the trajectory of your entire life, because that is the only way to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking action.
From the mouths of Rachel Badass Gonzales.
That's it.
New name.
Yes. Well, don't forget it was Rachel the Badass. Yes.
Of course.
I love it. Thank you so much, ladies.
Oh my gosh.
So much
fun.
Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing. The passion that you bring to your work, it shows. And thank you for having just that intention of making a difference in one family at a time. I think that's huge. And that's what we can all strive for, is just to make a difference in one person's life. So one family at a time. Thank you for joining us. We will put themoneymaven.net in the link in the show notes, so people can click through and find you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, ladies. It's, like I said, truly been my pleasure.
Yeah.
And, like I said, one day at a time. That's all we can do. Just take action.
Love
Love it.
You all, you know the deal. Head on over to reigniteresilience.com and check out what's going in our world. If you haven't subscribed to our weekly newsletter, go ahead and do so, because we're going to do a deeper dive into what we discuss with our guest on our Think Letters. And make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, we'll see y'all soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.